Welcome to Doug in Exile. Did you know Ilhan Omar got some liquid sprayed on her? I'm going to get above, fly our helicopter above about 1,000 feet of this whole event, which sounds a whole lot like manipulation of you and I. But part of how we stay happy is I'm not reactionary. I'm just here to talk about the facts and then look at what Democrats and Republicans do with the information and how does it affect the 2026 and 2028 election. Let me know your thoughts on this. Do you believe this is an inside job or is it legit? And by the way, it doesn't matter to me which one it is. It's bad no matter what. I'm not trying to hide behind saying this was an inside job. First, we're going to look at the event, okay? This is AOC on the event. Is it not a coincidence that after days of President Trump and VP Vance putting Rep. Ilhan Omar in their crosshairs with slanderous public attacks, she gets assaulted at her own hall? Now, remember this argument, guys, because this is used a lot by both sides. The argument is that the cause of a guy throwing liquid at Ilhan Omar is words. Words cause violence, says AOC. I've heard Republicans say it when they said tone down the rhetoric, because that's why Trump got shot or Charlie Kirk got shot. And I've heard the right, the left say it now. Here's AOC, but the left said it first. Trump's violent rhetoric caused an insurrection on J6. That was the most famous one. That was the legal theory. It didn't hold up in court. That is, words don't cause other people ultimately to do things to a point that you blame the person that said the words in free speech for the actions someone else does. You're responsible for your actions. I don't care what other people tell you to do. If everyone tells you to murder, you don't get to go murder and then blame them. You're still the murderer, is what I'll say. And I'll say the same thing to AOC and any Republican that blames a Democrat for Trump getting shot using words. I blame the shooter. That's why lunatics are the ones always end up doing it. Thank God she is okay. And I'll agree with that. I don't want any physical harm done to Ilhan Omar. If they want leaders to take down the temperature, they need to look in the mirror. So that's a very interesting argument. Do we want leaders to take down the temperature? Does AOC want, say, the streets in Minnesota where people are attacking ICE agents to take down the temperature? And I just now played a video yesterday of that Democrat lawmaker saying they will hunt down ICE agents like Nazis. Is that what she means by take down the temperature? And then here's Jay O'Brien with the Ilhan Omar. This is the video clip. We're going to show you the event right here. Let me see if there's any backstory on this. Rep. Ilhan Omar was just charged by a man at a town hall event in Minneapolis. Crowd says he sprayed her with something. You can hear Omar demand to continue the town hall, and she's back to speaking now from the podium. So not shocked or not anything. I'm going to show you evidence in the next clip that this thing could be an inside job. I'm not a conspiracist, so I'm not going to hang my hat on that argument, but let's watch this clip. Here we go.
Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment.
That's the guy. And he gets taken down. Hold on. Let's play it again. You'll see him. See that spray there? Where there's the actual shot of the liquid. So why does someone run up and spray her with water? If you're going to spray someone with water, by the way, you spray them in the face. This one just came up and sprayed her with a liquid. And this looks like a false flag to me. This looks like an ally. I don't get it. I don't know. But what I do like, I'm going to fast forward in this video because look at him being taken down by, here goes, big thug, grabs him. Yeah, grab that guy, throw him to the ground. Okay, this is all that ICE agents do to protesters. They grab them and throw them to the ground. By the way, if this guy was armed with a loaded gun and ended up getting shot, I would blame him also for it. Now, here's the inside. Here's the kind of the counter conspiracy to it being an inside job. This is Tara Bull. And what she's done here is isolated from a different point of view. The Ilhan Omar here looks up. And it looks like, and she shows this wide shot here, this is the guy in the front row. How did he get right in front of her? First of all, just happens to be right in front of her. Number two is she looks like she looks up and cues him like it's time to squirt me. Again, I'm not just saying that because that's my preferred narrative. I'm willing to say, no, this whole thing he really was MAGA. I don't think MAGA throws water at people. The left has been doing that to ICE agents, police, the National Guard. They've been throwing liquids at them for years. This is the first instance of someone being MAGA that I ever heard of. Now, watch her head on the left. Watch her look up.
Resign or face impeachment? Resign or
That looks like a cue. Now, that, it doesn't have to be, but I think that's interesting. Here's Tim Waltz. I'm glad that Congresswoman Ilhan Omar is safe. So am I. I want to know from my audience, is anyone out there not glad that she's safe? Do you want her to be unsafe and hurt? Because I have just an audience of MAGA people. Maybe I'll find one. Maybe I'll find one that wishes she wasn't safe. But I think you'll see in the comments below, everyone going, thank God she's safe. That's not how we want to win. Our state has been shattered, Tim Waltz says, by political violence in the last year. And whose fault is that? He would not allow his local law enforcement to work with ICE agents, federal agents. Everywhere that ICE agents are allowed to work with federal agents, there's zero violence. It worked in Texas. It worked in my home state of Tennessee. The cruel, inflammatory, dehumanizing rhetoric by our nation's leaders, very generic, needs to stop immediately. Okay. Can you talk about the guy that called ICE agents Nazis and that you would hunt them? Is that what you mean? Is it okay to use cruel rhetoric? What exactly is cruel? Saying she married her brother? Inflammatory. Definitely we're on maximum inflammatory, both sides. Dehumanizing. I don't believe in dehumanizing human beings. Dehumanizing rhetoric by our nation's leaders needs to stop immediately. So that's his position. Now, here comes the politicization of the entire Ilhan Omar event. Here's Barack Obama. This is today. More and more Americans are voicing their outrage at the tactics being deployed by federal agents in Minnesota. Again, I don't believe a word this guy says. I know him to be a liar. But it's important to understand the broader implications of what this administration is doing and the threat it possesses to the basic freedoms of every American. Is saying this administration is a threat to basic freedoms of every American, is that not upping the rhetoric, Barack Obama? That they speak out of both sides of their mouth. Tone down the rhetoric, and rhetoric is the cause of violence. And then Barack Obama says the Trump administration is posing a threat to basic freedoms of every American. So pick a lane, Democrats. They want both lanes. They just go, look, we're going to monetize this thing both ways. We're going to manipulate the public both ways. I'm going to show you a ton of examples of this in just a minute because Gavin Newsom, what a screw up. Here's Mike Lee. The Minnesota protests as organic as AstroTurf. What do we have here? This is an incredible video.
U-Haul getting signs out of their trucks. This is not organic. These are the same printed signs. And now they're heading to
they rent a U-Haul. This is a U-Haul truck that they're pulling the signs out of because they don't want to tie the source of the moving of signs to their political party or to George Soros. So they rent a U-Haul. You can't track the license plate to a person. Get it? Look at these masses of printed signs to hand out. Justice for Renee Good.
federal courthouse.
What do we want? When do we want it?
Do you know who's organizing this?
The PSL Party Association.
No. Okay.
Do you want to sign?
I'm just going to observe. Thank you, though.
Tuck in, meet your neighbors.
Join the socialist movement to end the rule of billionaires. And they have their little anarchy star there. This is run by communists. Is the news reporting that? CNN, have you told anyone that they're funding these signs on Renee Good and Get Iced Out is funded by the socialist? Look, the socialist movement. Tell them. They're not going to tell you. Now, this is my favorite. Okay, here's Trump outside of his airplane, right? This is what I mean by they're going to divide MAGA. How are they going to divide MAGA? Using the Second Amendment. They've done it on the First Amendment. Trump is very soft on the Second Amendment, period. Here's Facebook. Trump on the killing of Alex Preddy. He says, You can't have guns. You can't walk in with guns. You can't walk into this. You can't do that. He answers a reporter on the Second Amendment. Here's Gavin Newsom. Donald Trump does not support the Second Amendment. Gavin Newsom running for president in California. By the way, his polls have him slightly below Kamala Harris running for president in 2028. So does Gavin Newsom care about the Second Amendment, people? Or is he just weaponizing? I like this tactic. I think it's funny because we know he's a total gun grabber. He makes Trump look like George Washington on the Constitution. Trump would be radically pro Second Amendment compared to Gavin Newsom. But Gavin Newsom goes, I can say Donald Trump does not support the Second Amendment. He throws that bomb out there, guys. And then that little bomb hits the middle of MAGA, and MAGA splits. The dumb side of MAGA goes, yeah, Donald Trump, he's soft on the Second Amendment. I think I'll give Democrat. I won't show up to vote. I'm not going to vote for rhinos. I'm not going to vote for Republicans. I'm not going to vote for the right. I'm not going to vote for MAGA. I'm discouraged. My Second Amendment rights aren't supported by Trump. That's what Gavin Newsom's doing. And then Democrats get elected, and they go full bore overturn the Second Amendment Constitution by packing the Supreme Court. They're going to rewrite it, guys. If they win 2026 with enough people to pack the Supreme Court, or 2028, it's done, the Second Amendment. Gavin Newsom will remove it, just to be honest. And just to double down a little more, let's go a little deeper. Gavin Newsom does it again. Here he is posting, Trump lost the NRA. Here's the National Right to Arms, NRA. The NRA unequivocally believes that all law-abiding citizens have a right to keep and bear arms anywhere they have a legal right to be. We all agree with that. So Trump being soft on the Second Amendment, I'm only going to say I'm on Team Trump. I'm not against the Second Amendment, but Trump, this is my same position with pro-life. It's exactly the same. Trump is not philosophically pro-life. He doesn't have the arguments. But I get more with pro-life going with Trump than I would with Kamala Harris. What would Kamala Harris do with abortion? And what would Gavin Newsom do to the NRA in case this tactic, you're carrying the Democrats' water in speaking against Trump? That's my position on it. It is a nuanced argument. It's not for dumb people. Gavin Newsom, the worst governor in history. So I only know I don't believe Democrats. I don't trust their arguments. I don't think they're honest brokers. I know they'd be worse. We all know they'd be worse on the Second Amendment than Trump ever could be, even with Trump being soft on the Second Amendment. And then they use it. This is about the using of narratives, guys. Democrats don't care about not throwing water at a leader at a podium. They don't believe in lowering the rhetoric. They only say lower the rhetoric to win an election. They only say the Republicans are using insightful rhetoric because they know they do it worse. And they know they'll take away more of the First Amendment, the Second Amendment. And that's why we have to stay focused, staying united behind MAGA. And don't even let the NRA divide us. And I got more guns than most people, okay? I run more rounds through them. I'm a total Second Amendment guy, hardcore First Amendment guy, but I'll work with a Republican or a MAGA like Trump, who might be soft on those things, but I got more on my pro-life issue under Trump than presidents that believed more in pro-life before him. Candidates that lost and presidents that did nothing and Republican congressmen that did nothing. I got more from Trump, and ideologically, he's softer on being pro-life. I'll take the win. I'm Doug. In Exile.